my first time going live on TikTok. Not TikTok, YouTube. Um why did I say TikTok? I haven't even been on TikTok. So today I wanted to talk about everyday activism, and hopefully this can stay. Okay, so today I want to talk about everyday activism. And if you're new to YouTube, my name is Z. I'm the Fairy Medicine Woman. I am an activist, seer, philanthropist, but I'm also a spiritual healer and a spiritual guide. And I teach a very holistic way to do activism, because it encompasses way more than people think. It's not just about us going out and marching, going to rallies. It's so much more than that. It's really about our collectiveness. So I wanted to make sure that we could also redefine what that looks like, right? Because we can call ourselves activists when we are tending to ourselves, when we are expressing compassion, when we are being understanding, when we are actively making a change and being visible, right? Like allowing that change to not just be visible within ourselves, but to be visible in the general public. So it becomes normalized for us to work together and literally make change. Like take the actions to physically make change. Um, Before I get started, really quickly, because I got about 8 quick tips I'm going to run through. This talk is not going to be long. I just wanted to make sure that you are prioritizing your mental health. So, at any time you are needing assistance, please ensure to check your local resources. I am located in California, so my resources are going to be very different, but mental health services are going to change based on your state. So please make sure that you are looking into those as well to make sure you're taking care of yourself. If for some reason you are needing spiritual help, feel free to take a peek at. Hi, feel free to take a peek at my link tree for sessions and things I'm going to be offering. So, the first one I'm going to get into in terms of everyday activism is understanding the end goal. So, the end goal is going to be the most important when it comes to activism. There is no activism, there is no global change, there is no social change, spiritual change, us all working together, unless we fully understand what it is we are trying to achieve in the world as a collective, right? As healers, as light workers, as earth angels, as teachers, as folks who are wanting to be there for the community, it's really important that we understand what it is that we're working towards. So I invite you to work with people in your community, in your network, to really say, what is it that we need? What is really going to push us forward in this world right now, right? And in terms of immediately, a lot of it is mental health support, a lot of it is care, a lot of it is ensuring that we can still function from a place of compassion. Um, so keeping that in the forefront every single day, every single day that you are doing something is going to be the most important for you to be able to move forward and us to move forward collectively and do the right thing. The second one is going to be take accountability for your actions and inactions and get to the source of why you have or have not done something and commit to actually creating the change. So, this is something that I teach my clients all the time. It's actually in the first stage of their generational healing. So, in order for them to fully transition over, um, it's English. But in order for them to fully transition, it's all about taking accountability. And this is a part of a framework that I teach. Hi, everyone. Feel free to introduce yourself below, or like the live if it resonates with you. So the first part of that accountability is really self-awareness. The second one is environment, and the third one is the plan. And one of the things that one of my favorite speakers talks about, Tafazo Beresasa, is not having a plan is how we stay stuck in cycles. So not having a plan is how we don't create change. And what this can really look like for you and for us as a collective is how do we not repeat what we just did in the voting polls again when it's time to get together and make a decision as a collective whole, right? How do we create safety for everyone instead of just one group of people, right? We can't forget about everybody else who's being marginalized or are on the other side of oppression more often than others. And when you look at what we just went through and you look at the framework that I have built, and you start with the self-awareness, there was a high lack of self-awareness, right? Not only for the self but for others um around you. So when we have that low self-awareness, we don't hold ourselves accountable and we don't make an impact in the world because we're unable to see people as equal, as people who deserve peace, as creating equity for them as well, not just for ourselves. But when we are in such high preservation mode, we can't be self aware. Like it's very, very hard to do that because we function from a different part of our brain. So it's really important that you take accountability for how you are actually showing up in the world so you can have that deep sense awareness and then you can create an environment that you can thrive in and share it with other people, right? So when you look at environment, it's really the systems that support you or the systems that don't support you. Um, I see you in movie Joker gowns. That's really funny because I'm actually going to be doing a voiceover and it's kind of along those lines, but that's really funny that you mentioned that. Um but like we have created in our system of government an environment that a lot of people cannot thrive in. So when we look at self-awareness and then we shift to environment and create a healthy atmosphere where everybody can be happy in, then that is something that we can also create change, right? And then the third one is the plan, so it becomes this ecosystem of just helping each other out and it working naturally and cohesive and still growing to collective um progression, right? So the third one I want to talk about is do your healing work in community and individually. So this one is really, really super important because healing is the key to not only just feeling better day to day, because I know many of you have expressed not feeling great every single day recently, especially since the election, but it's also how we implement the plan from the framework, right? Part of the plan is we're going to commit to doing our healing and we're just going to make sure that we can sustainably move forward to a better future. We can sustainably share in abundance and equity and joy and love with other people. That is where that healing comes in. But what's most important is that you not only do it on your own, so finding someone like myself who's a generational healer or a coach, but also doing it in a community. Like I went to a community sound bowl healing and it was super beautiful and we were able to just be in each other's light and high frequency and understand that we are still one, we are still together. And that is the priority rather than shutting our doors and not being the amazing light workers and healers that all of us really are. So make sure that you are doing your healing on an individual basis, but also on a collective basis with your community. Another one is understand and listen to marginalized folks. Like this is a big one. I've mentioned this a lot on my TikTok. If you're not on my TikTok, go follow. I'm dropping stuff on there all the time. But now is the time for us to really learn from each other, especially voices that have not been heard um, and have been silenced for a very long time, because it's time to recognize that as a truth rather than acting like it doesn't exist, which is what I'm seeing a lot on social media right now. So that is something we want to steer away from because there's a lot of things that happened in this last election where many things were being shared by marginalized groups, but people were refusing to see it. People were refusing to hear it, and happens for years, hundreds of years. So, remember that even if it hurts, even if it's hard to hear, we need to be able to come together and listen to each other's truths and hold space for each other on a very safe and emotionally intelligent level, right? Like, this isn't about you sharing your information and then being really angry about it and taking it away or not hearing someone else. Like, this is emotional intelligence. This is meeting halfway and having really honest conversations about the truth of how we both feel, and then moving forward. So, um another one is acceptance. So accepting the way things are right now so that you can actually move forward. And if that means accepting your own emotions, no matter how like fucking shitty it feels or how amazing you feel right now, because whatever reason is making you happy, maybe you have opportunities going on, maybe you just live a certain lifestyle, accept it for what it is, so you cannot detach from your reality, because there's a lot of detachment going on, there's a lot of separation going on, and we don't need that. We need love, compassion, and togetherness. So accept who you are, accept your emotions, and do the healing work. Number 6, and I have just two more after this, is speak with your family members and friends. Um, if you are in the capacity to be able to do so, because change requires, again, conversation. And as we're looking at the statistics, it's very clear that a lot of people probably didn't talk to their family members, didn't talk to their friends. And while it can be easy to just block people on social media, it is not a solution, especially if you come from one of the groups that heavily voted in a certain way, that have put other communities now at risk. It's important that you talk to your friends and family about what happened, even if you don't agree, because who else is going to talk to them? They're just going to be in their own views for a very, very long time. So it's important that you say something to them all of the time. You need to be having these conversations, again, assuming it is a safe environment for you. Um, you are in the capacity to do it, right? Because we don't want to cause ourselves more harm. We want to stay in that high emotional intelligence. And as one of my mentors always says, like, when energy is high, emotions, like, yeah, when emotions are high, intelligence is low. So make sure that you are staying grounded as much as you can. For number 7, on social media, make sure that you are sharing people's posts, liking them, commenting them, sharing to friends and family, putting them on your stories. This is going to be a really big way to help a lot of activists, a lot of speakers, a lot of marginalized groups that are still being silenced on social media. So on any platform, I recommend doing that every single day, because every bit counts. I know a lot of people have offered to help and then don't actually follow through with the help. So that is something that I also wrote. And people were asking how could they help. Aside from social media, you can also donate money, literally follow through. If you're going to say you're going to do something and support a marginalized business, do the supporting in the way that you can. Um, like how the NAACP is investing a bunch of money into small Black businesses so that they can thrive, especially in this economic climate with what's going on and what just occurred. So if these things are going to be really important for people, like funding is a big thing. So if you are able to do that, I 10,000% would do that. Go help foundations and nonprofits that are supporting the countries that are in dire need right now. I highly recommend that. Small businesses, invest where you can. Um, and then lastly, my final one is just lead with love 10,000% of the time. I always tell my clients I lead with love because I am love. It's an affirmation that I teach them from the very, very beginning. So whenever they are going down a rough patch, and even on beautiful days, they remember that they are a physical representation of love, that they are um a frequency of love, and that they are the leaders of that energy. just by showing up and just by being compassionate, because love is the highest frequency in the entire universe. So if we can all remember to be in that energy whenever we can, everything's going to be a million times better. Everything's going to feel a lot better. We can have conversations, we can manifest money, we can give money, we can support countries, and we can, not cause so much chaos. So I just wanted to leave you with that. So remember to create love. And again, the affirmation is I lead with love because I am love. And again, follow me on TikTok and check out my description in my YouTube page. Give me a follow. There's lots of resources. I'm going to be doing a live coaching class if you are into developing your psychic gifts, if you want to develop your clairs, want to learn more about them, being in flow state, like quantum jumping and things like that. I also teach, but I'm also an activist. So there's a lot of different content that's going to be coming out. So I appreciate you all being on this live. This was my first one again on YouTube. And I'm sending you all lots of love, lots of hugs. Please do give my page a follow, share with folks, and I will talk to you all soon. I will see you later.